Welcome, everybody, and we're in the midst of the World Cup post-game live. I'm Jim Williams, along with Amadeus. Sean is on assignment today. Amadeus, my friend, what a morning, what an afternoon. Crazy on both sides. And your Canada played valiantly, but just couldn't get past what we talked about yesterday as a very, very surprising and one team you're going to have to keep an eye on, and that's, of course, Morocco.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This Morocco team is a dangerous team. Didn't pick up a single loss throughout the group stage. You know, they beat Belgium, who went home, tied with Croatia, and now my Canada goes down. I was expecting a better effort from them. I thought they played well, but some stupid mistakes from the goalie in that one. That's really let the game get away from them on that first goal. He should know better. But overall, you know, it's something to build off for next time.
Yeah, they're a very young team. And the thing with Morocco is what impressed me about Morocco for the entire tournament thus far, and want your observations on this, is that they were technically good. You know, they weren't spectacular anywhere, but they played technically good soccer. They didn't beat themselves. They didn't give opportunities up. They basically just played. If you're going to script out a way to play and say, okay, if we do all of these things right, then we got a chance. I think they probably maximized their talent more than any other team in the tournament thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. They played a very aggressive style. They never really sat back in any of their matches and waited. They always took the fight to their opponent. And yeah, even today, all they needed was a draw to get through, and they were all over Canada in the first 20, 30 minutes. It was like they were trying to get that insurance goal, and their defense was outstanding. They only allowed the one goal through 3 matches, and they scored it themselves. They scored on themselves today. That was the one goal.
Well, we're not. It counts anyway, so we're just going to let it go for that. Now, the other game this morning, Belgium and Croatia. Croatia advances. Another team that everybody thought was going to advance, and that's Belgium, is on its. Got the plane ticket home.
Yeah, Belgium was definitely a shock considering they were the favorite to win the group coming into the tournament. But a lot of people like this Croatian team. They played very well, very strong midfield they have there. And I thought Belgium made a mistake today. I really expected them to start Romelu Lukaku, and they waited till about halftime to put him in. But you could see in the second half, he made an immediate impact on that game. He had like 3 or 4 chances to put it in the back of the net. He missed all of them. But if he hits that ball a little differently on any of those, Belgium could have been the team through today, and Croatia could have been sent packing.
Then we have, speaking of going home, 2 teams headed home. Germany 4, Costa Rica 2. Didn't matter because Germany is on their way back to the continent, and Costa Rica has a longer flight back.
Yeah, so you know what? You said it yesterday. USA was the only CONCACAF team to make it through, and Costa Rica proved that true today. I thought they played really well. They even took the lead at one point. Germany missed a lot of chances.
Yeah.
It seems like, they're really missing that number 9. And again, that was another thing. I thought they were a team that made a mistake, just like Belgium should have started Lukaku. I think they found their number 9 in Fulkrug, but he should have got more for them done there. I know they scored the 4 goals, but allowing those 2 really, really hurt them in this match. They needed a lot to catch.
Yeah, they definitely needed it. And then the one that you and I were talking about, there's no fingernails left. Japan and Spain both advance. Japan getting the 2-1 win. I got to believe it, in the wee hours of the morning in Tokyo, Friday, there's going to be a lot of people bleary-eyed headed to work because Japan had everyone on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, that was probably the craziest match of the day. You know, Japan, they win the match and they're through. They really came to play. The first half wasn't too great for them. Spain was really all over them, but I thought the first 20 or 30 minutes, Spain had like 3 or 4 chances to score. And I was sitting
Mhm.
there thinking, all right, they might just blow Japan out here. And then they scored the first goal and they sat back on possession and tried to park the bus. And that really came back to bite them in the second half when Japan pulled what they did to Germany and just came out bang bang,
Right.
took the lead, never looked back.
Well, I think the thing that's kind of surprised me, and maybe it didn't surprise you, is Japan controlled the midfield, and that was surprising to me. I really did not see that coming. They really were able to keep things moving, and really keep Spain off balance. And this is a Spain team that we saw and talked about scoring 7 goals in the opener, but they left the rest of they could have used some of those goals throughout the rest of the tournament because they're going through, no question. But it was, had they tied, that whole thing could have changed drastically.
Yeah, and Spain, like I think a lot of people were crowning them after that 7-0 win against Costa Rica, but Costa Rica was the weakest team to come out of the CONCACAF
Mm-hmm.
qualifiers. And prior to this tournament, Spain really had a lot of trouble scoring goals. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you really saw that against Germany. That kind of like they went into the game as as the favorite in that one, and I think they kind of got shocked at how Germany was able to just kind of keep them at bay. And then today, they barely let Japan touch the ball in the first half, but then in the second half, as you said, Japan controlled the midfield. They
Mm-hmm.
became a lot more aggressive, like kind of how we've seen Morocco play. And when you press these teams, they can't sit back and possess the ball like they like to do.
Well, and the other thing too is that what we're seeing now is a very diverse and very um, interesting setup from the teams that we're going to have left. I mean, for you know, for the rest of the cup, for the final 16, well, there's still more to be played tomorrow. But what we're looking at right now is where you have Asian teams in here, we've got African teams in here, we've got one North American team, South American teams, and some of obviously some European teams. So we really have a full, no pun intended, an actual World Cup. We got some people here from everywhere. And of course, the surprises like Australia that's there. Nobody thought that was going to happen. The Socceroos, one of my favorite names, they're in. So I mean, there's a lot to like about this tournament.
Yeah, definitely some surprises. I didn't have Australia in my bracket personally, but good for them. They had a very dominant performance.
Uh-huh.
A full 6 points there from 2 wins, and even
Yeah.
Morocco. I know Sean was loving Morocco coming into the tournament,
Mm-hmm.
but who would have expected them to win the group over Croatia and Belgium? Like maybe
Yeah.
squeak in as a qualifier, but that was a big shock today too.
100%. Now here's what we got tomorrow, and that's starts with South Korea and Portugal, and Mr. Messi will show up on that one. Ghana, Uruguay. That's gonna be an interesting one. Your thoughts on those early games?
Yeah, so I think they're both going to be interesting. If Portugal does what I think they're going to do, I think you'll see them play because they already have the 6 points, and
Right,
even a loss pretty much puts them through here.
right.
So I think you're going to see them play similar lineups to how France treated their
Right.
match with Tunisia. I could see Portugal resting some players, like obviously guys like Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes who are
Mm-hmm.
lighting it up want to be out there, but also Ronaldo's 37 years old. You
Right.
got to rest the body, especially with
Mm-hmm.
you're in the next round. So South Korea, they really need to win this game, and they're one of those Asian teams from the area. We've seen
Mm-hmm.
these teams performing well. Japan today, so South Korea, they didn't look bad in their 2 games. And I think they might be able to take it to Portugal with a weakened Portuguese lineup here.
Yeah, especially when, as you said, if Portugal takes that decision of saying, let's put the boys on, on rest, and we're not going to play to lose, but we're certainly not going to overtax ourselves. That might, play to South Korea's advantage. So, in South Korea, you're right. They're very much a clone of Japan. They play that same kind of style, and against a Portugal team that, is probably going to be a little less focused on winning and a little more focused on just getting the 90 minutes out of the way. They could pull it's an upset, yeah, for sure, but it's not that big of an upset if they were to beat Portugal, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you bring up the focus aspect because, they don't really have to be as focused. They should be focused on the round of 16. They got their 2 wins. And even more so, you could treat this kind of as a letdown for Portugal because they wanted to beat Uruguay in their last match. That was the team that kicked them out 4 years ago. So they really were coming with the revenge on their shoulder, and they got the job done. They're through to the next round now. So yeah, this could end up being a letdown spot for the Portuguese for sure.
It's not going to be the case in Ghana and Uruguay. If both of those sides are going to be very focused, but Ghana, they have, and I don't know whether I'm speaking for myself here and let you make your own observation, but Ghana has that kind of South American Brazilian flair. I mean, it's everything they do is to use an analogy, a baseball analogy. They're great bat flippers. I mean, they love when they get close to the goal, they will, show some of the Samba Boys type stuff. And it's almost like Ghana has watched way too many tapes of, Brazil over the years. They really have that kind of personality and swagger, which I think is very entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely with Ghana, they have a lot of attacking talent.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. These guys, you mentioned the flair, like they can put the ball in the back of the net. Inaki Williams, for example, he is lighting it up for Athletic Club this year. So they definitely have some, obviously the Ayew brothers, they have some guys that can score goals. So I think it's going to be interesting against an Uruguay team that has yet to score a goal in the tournament. But at the same time, we've seen the other 2 teams, Tunisia and Mexico yesterday, who were the other teams that hadn't scored a goal, find the net. So, Ghana has shown their defense hasn't been great. They've allowed 2 goals in both their games. So I think this one sets up to be an interesting one. You got an Uruguay team that hasn't really looked great on attack, but a Ghana team that hasn't looked great on defense, and vice versa. So.
Which Ghana's one of those teams where I think everybody, including the keeper, wants to score. I mean, it's like no, well, let me do it. So they have they don't have a lack of people who want to push forward. When you do that, as you say, you let yourself open to counterattacks, and when they got numbers, you're going to have people score against you, and that's kind of what has been Ghana's MO. This thing they've been able, because they're talented, because they can score, they've been able to to win. But they've also shown at times a lapse of concentration on the defensive side, and you look up and go, whoops, there's 4 going back and there's only 2 back there. So even though they have what I think is a very athletic keeper, he's not going to be able to stop a 3 and 4 on 1.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And personally, I think that'll probably be, if you can only watch one match tomorrow, that's the one you want to watch in that time slot, because obviously we know Portugal's already through. It means a lot more to South Korea. So I think, both Ghana and Uruguay have a chance still. So that's probably going to be the more exciting of the 2 for sure.
The afternoon, it's Serbia, Switzerland. That's an interesting matchup. and Cameroon playing Brazil without Neymar, but Brazil's one of those few teams that can actually win without Neymar.
Yeah, a lot of people, they see Neymar's out and they go, "Oh, that's a huge blow to Brazil." It is. I mean, no,
Yeah,
not a lot of
sure.
people can replace the things that he can do on the pitch. But at the
Right.
same time, their squad is so deep and they have so much talent at every position that for them it really is next man up. Even though there's something that can't be exactly like Neymar, there's someone there that can fill the role nicely, or even just they play a different style and it all works out for them. So
They got 3 nines. I mean, other teams are trying to find one. They can say, Neymar's 9. Nah, we'll throw somebody else in there.
And that's the thing with Brazil is, they're starting a weekend lineup, sort of like how France did tomorrow.
Right.
And you look at the lineup, and you still got guys like Bruno Guimaraes, you got Gabriel Jesus, Vinicius Jr., and you go, these are their backups. These guys could be starters on half the countries that participated in the tournament so far.
Well, the other thing to me, which is always fun with Brazil, is this is the 3rd World Cup where they have a Fred.
Yeah, and his first name is Frederico.
Right. So how about that? We got 3 consecutive Fred World Cups. So you got to like a team with a Fred.
Oh yeah.
And they play. So there was a lot of talk that Neymar could play if he wanted to play, if they wanted him to. But why chance it? There's no need to do it, and they're likely to just cruise on through anyway.
Exactly, right? Save him for the round of 16. You already have 6 points and you're through. And plus, look at all the talent you have on your bench. Like I said, these guys like Gabriel Jesus and Bruno Guimaraes, they could be starters on some of these other nations. So give them their time to shine. I don't think you're going to get a bad Brazil team, even with the bench players, because I personally think Brazil's bench is a lot better than France's. And I don't think you're going to see that kind of where Cameroon dominates the same way Tunisia was all over France. I think it's still going to be Brazil in control of this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cameroon's a very athletic team, no question. But they're not Brazil athletic. Now, that being said, we have seen Brazil, hit the pitch and just basically go, siesta time, before. So that's the one thing that would caution people. I don't know what the line is on the game tomorrow. I haven't checked it yet, but it was one of those things where you sit there and go, I'm not so certain. This is, I wouldn't give up a lot of juice for them, because I'm not so sure that they'll show up, but they could take, as I said, they've been known to take the day off too.
Yeah, definitely. They're a -250 favorite tomorrow, which is a lot to lay because it's basically a goal and a half you have to lay with them. And we've seen them struggle. Serbia came with a very defensive style, and it took them about 60 minutes into the match to score. Switzerland, who has a much better midfield and defense, it really held them off to just the 1 goal, and it took them about 70 minutes to score on them. But at the same time, Cameroon doesn't have the kind of defense that Switzerland and Serbia has, and with them having to push their attack here, it's gonna be probably still an exciting game with the kind of players Brazil are gonna have to start here.
Foxy, congratulations, my friend. Good World Cup day. You have Morocco, Belgium, draw chance, Japan, Germany. So there is good. And then Brazil's second team have players that should actually be starting. Jesus is better than, agreed. Bruno's better than Fred. Well, he is, but we said, Foxy, we're just fans of the name Fred. So if Bruno wants to play, that's fine too. Just let Fred get subbed in.
Newcastle coming out.
What's that?
That's Foxy's Newcastle coming out.
Yeah, that's true too. But you know what? That's okay. Foxy's a friend. He's welcome anytime. His comments are greatly appreciated. Any thoughts? have you kind of peeked forward on the knockouts yet? Anything that piques your interest? I mean, any of the futures looking good for you, or you just kind of say, "Wait a minute, I'm going to hold off until tomorrow, till everything's done."
Yeah, futures. I'm probably gonna relook at the bracket once it's all filled in tomorrow. We see what happens, but I have looked ahead at some of these early knockouts. The one big thing I've noticed is the Netherlands opening as a -120. They've slipped down to -106 now against the USA. So each day it's been creep. Yesterday it was -110. Now -106. It's been creeping down a bit each day.
Well, we don't want that to happen. Just be careful. It's there's going to be a lot of good games in the knockout phase, and we'll get to those games obviously hopefully tomorrow, because the bracket will be filled in, and we'll actually tomorrow, folks, will be a good day to come, because we will have those brackets filled in, and we'll be able to get in advance scouting reports, so you can get yourself set up for the Sweet 16. Before we get out of here, there's a football game they're playing tonight. We've already saw football all day, but this is a different one. This one is the Pats and the Bills. And I have a feeling that the Bills are about ready to hit their stride and say, you know what, let's just, if we're going to win this division, we got the next 4 or 5 games. It's gonna take us to get there. And Thursday Night Football, Bills, Pats. I don't know. I wouldn't go against the Bills in this one.
Yeah, it's interesting when I look at the trends and the situations and stuff. Everything points to the Patriots for tonight. But then you look at the recent history. 4 of the last 5 games, the Bills have won. And their last 3 wins, they all destroyed the Patriots every game. The only loss in that span being that snow game where the Patriots won and without even throwing the ball at all. So
literally, yes.
Yeah, so it's one where, I'm kind of with you. The stats say Patriots, but you got to think the Bills are 0-2 in the division now. They've destroyed the Patriots over the last few years. They got to be feeling the heat now. They're competing with the Chiefs, who are probably on their way to the #1 seed right now. And that's going to be something they got to catch up to. And like you said, they got to start winning these division games. They need to win the next 4 basically to go 4-2 in the division. So this is a really important game for them, I think.
Well, and they're looking over their shoulder and going, wait a minute, what happened? Where did the Dolphins come from? I thought Tua, I can see them going, I thought Tua wasn't supposed to be good. But, this just in, Tua is good. And this just in, they have 2 of the most exciting and fast wide receivers in all of football. So, you put the ball in those guys' hands, and you and I, on occasion, if we could hit the pass, to Tyreek Hill or to those guys, they're gonna go 20 yards, and we're gonna get plus. We're gonna have a good quarterback rating. All we have to do is get the ball to them.
Exactly.
So they got some game players there, and Buffalo lost to them in Miami, but they get them at home. And so if the Bills are going to live up to the hype, and God knows they got hype when this season started, now is going to be the time.
Yeah, and you know what? That home game for the Bills is going to be a lot better for them, because it'll be in the middle of winter when the Dolphins aren't really used to that kind of weather, right? So
they're never used to that kind of weather. It's cold in Orchard Park for Miami in the when they come up in September. So that's there was a time where the Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had not won a game when the temperature was below 42 degrees for 2 years.
I can believe it.
And 42 is not that, 42 is not that cold. I mean, it's cold, but it's not that cold. It's not the frozen tundra, but and it darn sure isn't the one where the Pats played them in that snowstorm. So we'll see. It definitely is going to be cold for the Dolphins, but that whole division, they're all above 500, and they're all playing well. So they're going to beat up on each other, which is not going to help the Bills or whomever comes out of that division as the winner, because Kansas City is just basically, lapping the field over in the West.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill, who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I when you watch Patrick Mahomes play, he's almost toying with people. It's like you're just like, stop it. Just stop it. Okay? Just sit back and watch this guy. I mean, he'll run for about 20 yards and then pull up and, step out of bounds, and you sit there and go, how did they miss him? There were 7 guys had him, and he's now gone. I don't get it, but it happens. So he's an athlete, and the Pats do not have quarterbacking like him.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on this Mac Jones. I find the Patriots offense was a lot more explosive when Bailey Zappi was in. So
yeah.
I'm personally a Zappi fan just because I watched him at Western Kentucky quite a bit. He threw the ball 50 times a game there. So I think he deserves his shot, just like Mike White's getting his shot now for the Jets.
Yeah.
But it's nice. Just like in with the World Cup, it's nice to see these teams like Japan and Morocco get through. Right. The fresh. It's nice to see these fresh quarterbacks get a chance too in the NFL.
Well, Mac Jones, and look, I'm a Florida Gator fan, so Mac Jones is not on my favorite Christmas card list. But at the end of the day, Mac Jones it would be a fine quarterback if he had. He's like a Jimmy Garoppolo, okay? If you put enough people around him, he will, he'll win for you. He's not going to be the kind of guy, though, who's going to be, the guy who takes the game over and wins it for you. He's more of a game manager than he is a game, he's that level quarterback, a game managing quarterback, not a game decisive quarterback. So I think that's the problem, is that he doesn't have enough weapons around him to be that kind of guy, because the Patriots aren't really overwhelmingly talented on the offensive side of the ball. So that does limit what he can do. But you're right. I mean, you put the guy in who's got the hottest hand.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with what you said about Mac Jones either. I agree with the fact that he's a good game manager, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes either. I will give him credit for that. He'll make a dumb throw here and there and throw an interception, but other than that, he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. And
no,
it's very careful.
Lane Kiffin, when he was his offensive coordinator at Alabama, that's a Lane Kiffin thing. Lane Kiffin is very good at teaching you how not to be stupid. And, when Josh McDaniels, when he had Josh McDaniels there his first year, that was kind of like the transition from Lane Kiffin to Josh McDaniels wasn't that big of a transition, because they both have the same kind of philosophy. So, that helped. And so, he's good enough, but not good enough if the Buffalo Bills are playing the kind of game they can. But we talked about it yesterday. They do miss Von Miller in Los Angeles, and now Von has been injured. I hope that he gets to play tonight. We'll see how that works out. Remember, it's on Prime, everybody. So, remember, grab your streaming devices. You'll be wanting to watch it on Prime. I'm a big fan of Prime's pregame show. They do a really nice job on the pregame show. It's very entertaining. I really get a kick out of Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's basically been the quarterback for every team in the league, so it's not hard for him to talk about teams, because at one point or another he's been through. But it's a very entertaining game pregame show. Tony Gonzalez is on it. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it yet. It's entertaining stuff. So Prime Video tonight. and the Bills and the Pats. Then tomorrow it's Fox 1 and the Big Fox, for all the entertainment that you could possibly want to see with that doubleheader. We'll put it up here one last time so we can show you the morning games are going to be South Korea, Portugal. Follow also at 10, Ghana, Uruguay. And then after lunch, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon, and Brazil on the Big Fox. So plenty of interesting stuff. And tomorrow, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Also on Fox, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, the Pac-12 championship game, Utah, Cam Rising versus the UCLA Trojans, with Caleb Heisman Trophy should be given to him on the spot. Williams. It'll be a good game. It's a rematch of a game that was played earlier in the season where Cam Rising hit a 2-point conversion to beat USC by a point on the final play of the game. And so, they're getting in the cars in Utah and driving down to Vegas, and they're taking the 247-mile trip, which I've taken before myself, from LA to Vegas. And so there's going to be a lot of Trojan fans in Vegas. There's going to be a lot of Utah fans in Vegas. There's going to be a lot of money lost in Vegas. Now, who's going to lose it? I don't know. It's a 3-point game. We will get to that tomorrow and let you know. We got a couple of quick questions from the class. Let's see what we got. We got Foxy. What do you got, Foxy? Might take South Korea if Portugal plays second team tomorrow. I think that's something, Amadeus, you talked about earlier. We won't know those lineups until we've got the preliminary lineups, but we're not going to know those lineups until they're probably about 8 or 9 in the morning. So, Foxy, you're an expert at this, my friend. You will know when to look and when to find. So, but I can't fault you on that. It makes a lot of sense. We talked about South Korea playing good soccer.
Oh, yeah.
Any final thoughts there? I almost said Foxy. Foxy's become such a part of the show. He might as well be on as a co-host. Amadeus, any final thoughts?
No, just I'm excited to see how the groups close out tomorrow. It'll be nice, and as always, thanks for having me on the show. I'll be excited to join again tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to it, and it's always a pleasure. And by the way, people who are wondering why it's Avatar Gym for like 4 days, I ended up with a bruised hip, and so I'm not camera ready, as the old saying goes. So when I'm camera ready, you'll find out, but not yet. Anyway, guys, have a lovely weekend. Have a lovely Thursday. I'm getting ahead of ourselves. Have a lovely Thursday. Amadeus and I, and maybe even Sean, will be back with you tomorrow. Have a nice day. Thanks again, Amadeus, for joining us. And you all have a nice and safe evening. Enjoy this. If you get a chance to watch the game tonight, enjoy the game. And then watch those games tomorrow, and we'll come back and talk about them, right? Okay, cool. For Amadeus, I'm Jim Williams saying so long. We'll be back tomorrow.